The convergence of our voices is the song of our beauty. Many voices will speak here, the song woven through diverse notes. Today's guest is Nancy Wang. She talks about how she uses storytelling events to bring people together. And she talks about the books and plays she's written and the mysterious death of her grandfather. Listen up. Hello, everyone. Welcome, and a big welcome to Nancy Wang, who is our guest for today. She is a multi-talented writer and performer. And how would you describe yourself, Nancy?
That's a hard one because I am very old. And so that means I've done a lot of things in my life. I started as a dancer, so I still consider myself a mover. But I am also a storyteller, and I've done theater, and I'm an author, um, and I'm more and more a more not through just art, an activist.
Aha. So what is your activism these days?
Well, for example, I don't know if you want to do this.
Oh.
But this is my jewelry
Oh.
for the next three, hopefully not 3 years. It
Uh-huh.
says to the world, and it's
Yes.
held up by the Buddha.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and that's one way, but I am doing through my art. I mean, besides signing petitions, going to rallies, going to marches, doing whatever I can, in the middle of trying to figure out how to unplug from things like, Facebook
Oh,
and
yes.
all the things that are
Yes. Yeah.
Amazon, Netflix,
Yeah.
Wix. So but I am working right now on my third Strong Like Bamboo event, which is really about allowing people to tell their stories of resilience in their challenges around being discriminated against.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that these stories of resilience and how they got through these things, how they met it, how they thrived, will inspire conversations and inspire other people to feel that they can tell their stories, that they are not alone, and it's important to share, important to, not have it just on your own shoulders. So that's my way too of saying we have to come together. We
Yes.
have to be together in order to keep our joy and our energy up so that we aren't crushed by what's going on every
Yes.
day, several times
Yes.
a day.
Yes, we need that good energy to spread out into the world and
Absolutely.
uplift. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uplift is a good word because, he's hoping and they are hoping that we'll be just pushed down.
Mhm.
We are too exhausted. Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Nope, it's not.
Uh-huh. And so the Strong Like Bamboo, is that part of your theatre company?
Well, it's one of our projects.
Yeah.
We are Eth-noh-tec, and ours is to build cultural bridges that celebrate diversity and create compassionate communities through the art of storytelling. And so one of our events is Strong Like Bamboo. This will be my third one. It started with when, and during the pandemic, Asians, particularly Chinese, were demonized as having started the pandemic, and we were responsible for everyone's deaths. And so we were, violated many times on the street, pushed down, and one woman was pushed in front of a coming train, and others downstairs. Another was stabbed to death in her own lobby. She couldn't get through her door in time. So The first one was just Asian Americans being able to tell their story. So Asian American storytellers who shared their stories of the discrimination they have experienced and how they got through it. And then we had a panel, and then groups of three in the audience would gather together and be able to share their concerns, their stories with compassionate listening, and then come back for a general discussion. That was the first one. The second one was LGBTQ, Latinx, and Asian, same format. And now this third one is intercultural, interethnic. So we are going to have Asian American, African American, Jewish, Palestinian, Latin, X, LGBTQ, and Native American.
Mm.
And it's going to be so beautiful when
Yes,
we together. You know,
yes.
Jesse Jackson just died, but in the, I forget which, maybe in the 80s, that he created the Rainbow Coalition. And
Mm.
that was like taking all the peoples together, not just separated one group, doing their
Mhm.
thing, but coming together. And that is what I'm wanting to do this May.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
And
So I'm hoping that I think it will be. I think it's going to be really exciting. I have a great lineup.
yeah, good. And that's going to be in San Francisco?
There's going to be one in San Francisco at the Marsh. It'll be not as expanded as the one in Oakland at the
Ah,
Oakland Asian Cultural Center. The one
okay.
at the Marsh, they don't have the room to have
Mhm.
people separate into three groups, into
Yes,
groups of three. So we will have just a panel and then a general discussion. And it's a very intimate space, so it should be fine to be able
yes,
to do
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm quite intrigued by the story of your grandfather.
As was I when I
Yes.
started
So,
thinking.
so tell us about your grandfather and what happened to him.
So when growing up, all we knew was that he died falling down the elevator shaft of his own very posh restaurant in Chicago,
Mm,
1924. And I had heard along the way that my grandmother had accused her own brother of pushing him, but everyone thought it was just her grief. Everyone thought, how you don't say such things.
mm,
So it was ignored. Um, so as an adult, just a few years ago, I began to think something's not right. First of all, my grandfather had sold their mansion, the all their furniture. He had rented a small apartment for himself. He was sending his family of his wife and 7 kids to live in China. Why?
mm,
He was very, very successful, wealthy, was very admired and respected by both the Chinese and the white world. He had just even prior to 24 had leased a building for 35 years, a 35-year lease to create a bigger restaurant where there would be a dance floor. And he had already constructed the glass dance floor with lights coming up from underneath. And why would he leave everything? What was that about? So I began to wonder. I did a little research. I started doing a lot of research, particularly because he was so smart at using the media. There were numerous uh, newspaper articles about him. And then I went, of course, to the immigration records and looked at when he went to China after he first arrived and how he came back with another child and with my grandmother who they had just married and he wanted to bring her back to meet his family. I mean, so I got all this information. Life was too good. But I did find one thing this happened like in 19 it was quite, I can't remember, it's 1900, oh, I can't remember, but it was not 1924 when he died. It was quite a ways back, but revenge can take a long time before you know when to strike. But
Yeah.
he had, um, there was a huge murder trial that went across the nation in terms of newspaper headlines
Mhm.
because it was a big Tong War thing.
Oh.
Yes. And so what happened was that my grandfather was a Chin, and the enemy clan were the Moys. And the Tongs were always at each other. My grandfather was not part of the Tong, but he was head of the clan. But so when one of the Chin were murdered, not our relative, but another Chin was murdered in broad daylight,
Mm.
um, he decided that he needed to bring it to trial. He was not going to let the Moys get away with it.
Yeah.
His point was to prove that the Moys did it, and he hired a big New York lawyer. And anyway, what the point was is that when the assassin that was hired first but did not go through it was put on
Oh.
the stand, and he told why he didn't do it, but that he was hired to assassinate 5 Chins.
Mm.
Only one was accomplished by another assassin before he was caught. And so the judge asked him, so who are the other 4 Chins that you were supposed to assassinate? And he looked out in the audience and he pointed to my grandfather,
Wow.
his dad, and his brother and a cousin.
Ah.
So, so that gave me some kind of what he was, a target.
Yes.
And since he brought it to trial, he lost. The Moys got away with it, even though
Oh.
it's clear that they did, but the Moys were able to like pay a lot of the police and the judges and the
Ah, yes.
so and then right after that happened, he cooperated with the police
Mhm.
to to raid all the places of gambling,
Mhm.
which, oh, come on, Grandpa. That's really going to put you in great stead with all the two
Y-
tongs that are doing this, right?
Yes,
So,
yes. Uh-huh.
so I don't know, was his family threatened, so he had to
Perhaps.
move them out?
Yeah.
But he wasn't going to go right away. He was going to make sure everything was copacetic, and then I guess he was going to go.
Hmm.
But the night before they were to leave on the ship to go to China, he was killed.
Hmm.
He died.
Yes. Very suspicious.
Yes, very. And so I came up with 4 suspects,
Mm.
and one of them was my uncle.
Ah.
And I had finished the play and all my research and written it out when someone suggested I read a book that just came out in 24, that was called um, the Chicago. Oh God, I should have it with me, but it's about the gangs, the triads, and the tongs of Chicago Chinatown.
Mm.
And so, okay, I'm reading it and saying, oh, yeah, that's the name I'm having. That's one of my suspects. Oh, yeah, that's another one of my suspects. Then I saw my uncle's name.
Oh,
He's there as an assassin
wow.
who never got caught,
Hmm.
always got away with it.
Hmm.
Ah!
Wow. Yeah. So, what's the name of the play that you wrote about this?
It's called Shadows and Secrets.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
And I made it as a staged mystery radio play.
yes. And
Yeah.
is it still available?
What's now available as a script. So
Uh,
I'd like to send it out to other theaters that would love to put it on.
yeah.
Um, and I suppose I've seen books in which it's just the script of something. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if that could happen. I could
Hmm.
just publish the script,
Yes.
but you could still get the gist of it all.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
imagine all the tung, 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 all the sounds that you get with radio. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Uh-huh. And you have a new book as well.
Yes. So it's called Red Altar. And it was first a multimedia performance. And that was the story on my mother's side. But this is my mother's side.
Uh-huh.
Whereas Shadows and Secrets is actually my mother's father's side. So this one is about the first three generations that started the fishing industry in the Monterey Bay Area and how, what was it like to leave home and then going finally convincing, I guess my great great grandfather finally convincing my great great grandmother to take the trip to China in 1850, which was very unusual for women to come.
Yeah.
And then they ended up crashing into the Carmel Bay, and
Wow.
that's they ended up starting the fishing villages there
Hmm.
because they were meant to go to San Francisco, but there was a huge storm and they crashed into the Carmel Bay, and the Ohlone Rumsian peoples rescued them and
Oh.
brought them back to health. And when they looked and saw no boats in the Carmel River, no boats in the Carmel Bay, no boats in the Pacific Ocean beyond, and said, where we're staying.
Yeah. 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 I bet that trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it covers three generations in which, they also have to face rising discrimination and
Oh,
laws.
yes. Yes. Hmm. So, yeah, that would have been an interesting time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I frame it with the Black Lives rallies, the Black Lives Matters movement,
Hmm.
because it's then
Similar.
and now, then
Yeah.
and
Same
now, then
thing.
and now, then and now.
Yeah.
What's, yeah,
Happening over and over. Yeah.
yes, yes. So
And you know what?
you are lucky that you are not from this country, but I'm sure there's,
There are things that happen, all over. Um, Canada, Britain. Yeah, when I was growing up in London, there was a lot of discrimination. It might have not have been as violent as in the US. It was more subtle, I would say, more social.
yeah, but nonetheless, very, you know,
Very
painful.
damaging.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so when was it great grandfather came, how long was that trip from China? It must have been a long trip.
I think there was no immigration in 1850.
Mm.
No, immigration department laws, etc. So they had their own, they came with four other teenagers and they bought their own junk boat. All the families put their monies together,
Oh.
including, every village usually has a an organization that supports the villagers. And so they may have put some money into it, knowing that somehow they would get it back because once you make your money in the States, you
Hmm.
get money back.
Ah.
So that's how they came. And they came on a junk boat by themselves. They were all teenagers.
Wow.
And I don't, they were all fishermen, but I don't think they were like sailors,
Hmm.
but they did it. And then they got caught in the storm. So the first chapter is the storm
Yeah.
and, and having to, the wind and the waves and the being smashed, getting closer to the cliffs and lift the lamp higher. We can't see. And well, they couldn't see anyway because the rain was so strong and the wind was blustery and the boat was rocking. And yeah, so,
Hmm. Hmm.
so
Yeah.
that starts and then it follows three generations. I think they had probably a fine time on the way. There's a natural current that rotates like this from
Hmm.
Asia, then going east to America, and then goes down and goes back up to Asia. And
Hmm.
so you can take that route. And then when you get up the top at about the 38th, I think, um, parallel, then there's the trade winds that can help bring you across. So, the the Spanish in the Philippines had been going that route for centuries to Acapulco. And the Filipinos and the Chinese that lived in the Philippines had been building their their ships that were based on the Chinese junk for centuries. So they all knew the route and
Hmm.
how to do it. And
Yeah. Uh-huh. So
yeah,
that book is available how?
through me.
Ah. So people can
No
look
tech,
up your website.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Eth-noh-tec, Eth-noh-tec.org. A lot of people take the H of no and put it on tech, and it's really not that,
Ah.
So Eth is like cultures, the arts and the cultures of the East and West, the ethnicity, the ethos. No is not only the Japanese theater of the spirits, but it also with Kano, it means possibility. And tech, the original technology was weaving.
Hmm.
So it's the weaving of cultures, East and West, to create new possibilities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you would like to?
Well, hmm. Well, I know that, I was awarded a writing retreat of 3 months to be taken over 3 years.
Ah.
And one of the things I did was to finish the Shadows and Secrets. The other thing that this last year was writing two new books, 2 volumes of folk tales with my husband, who's my co-director, where they're both are Eth-noh-tec, doing the illustrations for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's very exciting because all our folk tales are chosen um, for what they have to share.
Yeah.
So the values of greed versus generosity, um, we have one that's called rumor, where someone assumes that someone has died on the other side of the gate that before these two neighborhoods live side by side really well. But one day a man comes through the gate to the other side and it looks like he's crying, but actually he had been just cutting onions to bring to his friend for a stew. And but a little boy says, "Look, Mom, that man is crying. Hush, child." perhaps someone has died on the other side of the, and so it begins to be a rumor that someone has died. And then they hear that rumor and they go, oh, what? Someone's died on the other side? And it goes back and forth, back and forth. And before now, it's not just one person has died, it's 10, maybe more. Oh my God, it's a pandemic, and then they go back and forth. And you have to stay away from those people because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what's going to happen, and these two neighborhoods eventually leave their neighborhoods,
Uh-huh.
never coming together.
Hmm.
Because one of the lines, my husband is so smart about this, lines is, the two wise men decide on each side decide perhaps someone should go to the other side to find out the truth. And someone goes, truth? Are you kidding? We're not going the truth. Anyway, so the two neighbors, once side by side, no longer talk to each other, and now they brag about the narrow escape from the other side.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Oh,
And
so
that's what's going on in the Middle East.
yes. Uh-huh.
So
Other
tales like
places
that.
too.
Huh?
And other places too.
Yes,
Mm.
lots of other places. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. So that one of the things that I've been really concerned about is why why there is so much fear of the MAGA people about um, people who are different than them. What is that fear? And it's not just MAGA, obviously, it's been going on forever. Why do people, what is that fear? Because not all of us are afraid of difference. What is that?
Hmm. Don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of research about projection,
Hmm.
survival mode, fear, and the results of that.
Hmm.
It's like, and I'm going to incorporate those little things in because I'm going to be the MC. I'm not going to do a story this time.
Yes.
Strong like bamboo, and I'm going to like squeeze those things in,
Hmm.
try and have us understand what is happening and how can that inform us as to how to respond. It's a huge,
It is huge. It really is. Yeah.
and it's really hard for us individuals to know how to make a difference.
Hmm. But I think we can and do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? How?
Um, I think by just keeping that vibe of, of I don't know what you'd call it, help and
Being there, you mean, for
yeah,
each other. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it may not feel like much, but it is.
It makes a big difference.
You don't know
Every
what,
person who
yeah.
is touched.
And then they go out and touch others,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
It spreads, but so you just have to have faith.
Yeah,
What you do, if it's out of your heart and out of goodwill, that you are actually doing what's right, what's right
yeah.
to make a difference. Yeah.
So have you got anything else upcoming for this year?
Um, well, we are old, as you say, crones.
Yes.
And so we're at a crossroads at Eth-noh-tec and wondering what is next, you know?
Mhm.
Um, we have had over 40 years of amazing performances going all over the world. Obama's inauguration, Clinton's inaugural celebration, Smithsonian, Austria, New Zealand. I mean, we've been everywhere performing across the nation, people coming to our performances and um, but that's not happening anymore. Since the pandemic, we are not being asked. And I go,
Ah,
what is that?
mm,
No, I have no idea.
yeah. There's been a real shift since the pandemic, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to all play out.
Yeah. So I've written a grant. I don't know if we'll get it. But it's to hire a vision quest counselor
Mhm.
to take Robert and I through what it is that's sitting here, what we really want to do. Do we want to let it all go? Do we want to move on? But what would that look like? And, to really, really go deep, which is frightening.
Mm.
And, then do a strategic planner so that we can do the next 3 to 5 years as to what's next.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's exciting, and I hope we get the grant. But I think, there's a part of us that has already made some transition because if no one's asking you to perform, then what else do you do? We still have so much. So
Hmm.
that's why the books of our, we have over 200 folk tales that we've created, and I mean, rewritten and performed and choreographed. So that's going to be our series of those books. And now I'm working on my father's story, which is
Ah,
really fascinating. None of us Sibs knew him much because he was always out in the world doing the work of, he was a community worker and he was so brilliant about it. He accomplished so much out in the community, big things, like he saved Chinatown in Chicago actually
wow.
by
Yeah.
building nonprofit homes and townhouses and an apartment for the poor and the elderly. And because Chinatown was dying in Chicago. And so he figured if you brought people back to live there, it would come alive again. And so that's what he did. So
Mm,
anyway, he was very busy. And by the time he was doing all this great stuff, we were already in college and gone.
yeah.
So when they both died, when father died first, then my mother, when my mother died, we had to go through all their stuff. And in that going through stuff, I found a manuscript and other writings by him.
Ah,
Yes. So the last time I was at my retreat, I also read everything I could on what was left. And it's like this novel.
mm.
Father
Yeah.
wrote a novel that never got published.
Hmm.
And so now I'm thinking, how can I do that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful.
it's like mining your own,
Yeah.
your own family. You have so many stories. I would say everybody start interviewing your elders.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a lot to tell.
They've done a lot that
Yes.
they, my kids probably don't know all that we've done.
Hmm.
My grandchildren certainly won't. One grandchild,
Yeah. Ah,
right? You
okay.
have
Well,
kids?
I do. I have two and three granddaughters.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old are your grandkids?
8,
Oh,
4, and 3.
wonderful.
Yes.
Those are great ages.
Yeah, yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to thank you very much for this interview. And it's been a great time talking to you and learning about your work.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it
Really. Oh,
was my pleasure. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There are new upcoming videos of all kinds of interesting women, and you don't want to miss them. Bye.